Well, they're still at it. Those were those two apartment buildings before part of. You framed her before? Yeah, I framed her before. Shame on you. I know, I wish I wouldn't have done it. I found out those people even raped her. I feel bad about everything. March 24th, 22, 1:30. Someone, one guy was screaming at him. The part of the stalking extortion group, drug and kidnapping. My car is bugged from the Protected Life case. Well, at the Canton FBI started turned over the police, not knowing the retired judge's daughter was involved. And that the police were helping frame me up there. Because no one's allowed in your home no matter what. For Department of Justice, who do you report the police or any agency or anybody surveillancing in your home? Department of Justice, FBI, ICE, and local police department to arrest them. It's under Fourth Amendment. It's a legal search and seizure. It is. If you go further into the law, police and agencies can only be in a home under a threat of life. Failure to notify before initiating and speaking to the other people of the threat of life living in that home is abuse and misconduct. Failure to protect is abuse and misconduct. Um, and then it goes into the right of privacy, illegal search and seizure, because you can actually tell someone you don't want their help and they can't help you. You have a right to privacy, a right to remain quiet, right to legal representation, a right to a fair court trial, bail, and bond. For every civil right that's broke, it's 1 to 10 years per Department of Justice. I spoke to Officer Reinhardt in Louisville. He giggled about the thought of them having illegal surveillance. He's like, don't you worry about a little thing. He said, until Will at the Canton FBI agreed to protect you, nobody could be in your home. It's illegal to be in somebody's home and it's illegal to look and listen. Then we don't have to worry about photoshopping and people drugging me and telling me to say something. But Will did create a real protective life case. A heavyset officer within a few days showed up at Walmart, 62 by the food counter. I asked Dave about those people threatening her. He better not put his hands on her till I find out what's going on. And so by October 1st of 18, I was legally bucked. I talked to him September 27th, 18. So, no, like Reinhardt said, nothing but will protective life case. That's it. It's illegal to look or listen. It cost them their badge. And everybody knows everything was photoshopped, drugged, and told to say stuff. Hear them scream outside. Stay at night. I told you if I was I'm not one bit racist. My family is African American, Caucasian, and Filipino. My extended family is beautiful and amazing. God made all mankind in his image and died for all mankind. Only thing separates us is eye color, pigmentation, and hair color. That's it. We're all the same inside. But I'll tell you what, African American descendants are descendants of people that were sold for money, beat, raped, tortured, and murdered. And if you touch one of them, they riot and they shut down the streets. If and I if an African American woman was touched like by a white cop, a white stalker, an old white fat man, and raped and tortured, and they put it on the internet, what would happen? Black Lives Matter would shut the nation down and there'd be riots. What would happen if they illegally surveillanced her at home, photoshopped her, and she had bruises, and they were using amnesia drugs on her? She'd never been questioned with Miranda rights or accused of wrongdoing. They'd burn the nation down and they'd shut it down. What would they do if they abducted her and put a chip in her head? They'd shut the nation down. They would. African American people are smarter than white people. People are people, but they're just descendants of people that have been horribly abused and mistreated, and they won't tolerate it anymore. So, yeah, they won't put up with this. I went down to see a friend and had lunch with him the other day, and his cousin is an officer. Called up and talked to the Massillon police. He verified everything I say. And that it's ridiculous they haven't fixed this. They even mentioned a tape before. They have to arrest them. If they can prove they actually stalked me, because setting up spyware in somebody's home is considered stalking. You cannot get a court order. Matter of fact, attorneys even states that if attorney tapes you unaware in their home, that they are, not only do they get arrested, they have to compensate the victim. It's just like their fake sodium pentothal reports. They ran it like a spy movie. It's a lethal outlaw drug. You say yes to anything, hard telling what was in those needles. They admitted in stores and in front of people, and everybody knows I was drugged and told to say stuff before where I had giant bruises and hand marks. They were even abusing me under drugs and photoshopping me in porn, so it made me look weird with myself, I guess, and took simple actions and made it dirty, put in shower scenes. Real police don't tape in bedrooms, bathrooms, and nudes, even in protected custody. You still have a right to privacy. They can listen if you need help to come running, but they can't tape inside there because you still have a right to privacy and dignity. And real police do not sell any information of a case. If you do, you're a villain. You're not allowed to give names, addresses, or information. It's a big federal no-no. So is everything that happened to me. They run around, still act like they can get money. And it's ridiculous. Like Reinhardt giggled at the whole thing. He's like, don't you worry about a little thing until you actually spoke to Will and he agreed to protect you. No one could be in your home. Until that heavyset cop said that he talked to Dave, no one could be in my home. They would lose their badge, they'd go to jail. And yeah, anybody looking or listening, same thing. I talked to someone that used to work for a prosecutor. He's like, I know. He said it's like a 5-year sentence for an officer to legally surveillance you in your home. Per Department of Justice, for every civil right broke, it's 1 to 10 years. So yeah, you want to put your name on it, you can go to jail for it, and they can't look or listen. Nothing but Will's case. And they have Dave. That's where it's amazing. Of I love you. I love her more as he's pushing me into the bed for 30 minutes and how he hired a man to slit my throat, stab me in the heart, and bleed out. Yeah. And that he hired a man to shoot me if I ran, and I almost got shot in the first 45 days. Okay? They also have the phone call between me and that woman, and where I thought I was getting baby mama, of the churches taking up $25,000 to hire men to kill me. That's them. This is their permanent plan to do away with me. Photoshopping and drugs. Officers in uniform, you know what it is? It's hi, sweetie. Yeah, because what are they going to say? Some weird stalker watched you in your home, photoshopped you and drugged you up? It's hi, sweetie, do you need anything? Massillon Police, what was it, November 27th? 8:40 a.m., something like that. Altman Stat Care on Wales Road. 8:40 a.m., something like that. I took my other client in there, came in uniform. I'm here to watch her. Stephen Eric, there's a Stephen Eric stalking her, and after everything they did, nothing's admissible. It's not. And they're looking for him. Just like they told Ed at the Oakland apartment maintenance man on Cleveland Avenue, December 9, 21. All the tapes before were them, not her. Wow, what's going on? It's a group of men doing as many crimes as they can to see if someone will actually stop them. One of my bodyguards from the case, a white man bald with dark eyes, distributing food in the back of the Stark County Hunger Task Force, came out and said they always knew the tapes before were them, not me, so they never said a word. He talked to 2 investigators, and they said it's some guy named Eric trying to help him get away with this. Okay, and they don't know who he is yet. So, and Ed told the Canton police and investigators and the man that works with him. It's just a bunch of men doing crimes here, and they said they always knew it. They have pretended to be FBI, framed the FBI for crimes. And what's really sick, I told you, in December 9th, there was, we'll start at December 18th and I'll go back to the 9th. December 16th or 18th of 18, I met Darlene Rhines for pie down at Bob Evans. There was a white man, bald, red long beard, glasses, 6 foot, 230, 250, big stocky guy. Okay, sitting at a table right behind me, and I'm a crazy blonde lady sitting there talking. He's like, I'm Karen's handler. Those are my men. Easy, boys. And there's 4 men sitting at another table, and they're waving at me. One of them's a white guy, 40, white hair, okay? The other one's a brown hair, brown bearded guy, and then there's 2 other guys with their back, okay, towards me. Well, they're actors. Well, they didn't get me a handler. They didn't have a badge. They didn't talk to me in person, okay? Now, that white man that's like 40 years old, he had showed up in early December at Wendy's, Yada Chipper. You can't do that. Why? She didn't do anything wrong. Her family don't care about her. Okay? He was sitting in, by December 9th, 18, in Wendy's in front of Dixie, and a whole bunch of people in masks, and there were some big men. He's sitting at a table with that guy, the brown hair guy, okay? Brown bearded guy. And there's big guys standing at the pop station. Give your jewelry back. I said, give it all back. You hear me? I said, give it all back. Dixie witnesses, with her permission and my phone, that they ordered me to give my jewelry back. They put a hit on my granddaughter's life that was just born, and they were tampering with her vehicles. And under the threat of them killing my granddaughter, ordered me to give my jewelry back. And I gave it back trying to save their life. Being part of a murder and extortion ring and drug and kidnapping ring, you don't get money. You go to jail. So 12/21/18, if you actually pull Will's protect a life case for an informant, for the police to protect me at home, I was stabbed in the neck of the refrigerator. Foggy, hazy, dark. Bright light, felt myself cry. I wake up 6 hours later in bed where my head was round. It's dented in. The skin feels funny. Hair is missing. I got marks on me and a 4-inch bruise with ripples underneath my ribs. And it looked like hand marks. Okay. Dave shows up and he's accusing me of having an affair. I didn't know what happened. Okay. And my head's pounding, and they were breaking and stabbing me with needles until I couldn't put thoughts together. Okay. And there's a steak knife with bone and flesh in the sink. Do you realize with them stabbing me in the neck with an amnesia drug, they didn't give me anesthetic. I was probably, the marks and the finger marks, they probably held me down while I was screaming my head off while they were cutting my skull open. It's a simple surgery. You just cut the skull open and skin and then surgically glue it back down after you put the disc down. The stinking bastards. Okay, well, I heard that okay, by January 3rd of 19, I go back down to Bob Evans. That bastard and those men are in there. And he's like, you idiot, you left your comb over there. He's like, I almost had a naked lady laying next to me. He said, what'd you expect? Lucky I just combed her hair. Yeah, well, you know what? That means he was one holding me. I bet I was screaming my head off while they were cutting my skull open. He was outside my apartment a couple nights back, where those idiots that used to follow me around with computers after they chipped me. Okay, they were in Walmart. They were in Belden. They showed up at Thursday at Mercy Medical, Dr. Tater's office, urology's, when I took my client in there. 4 of those men with the computers and a tall white guy with black hair and a black beard staring at me. Okay? That's the one they used for an example how to process people. Now that we know it works, we can start processing more people this way. Well, I got home the other night real late, not feeling well. He was outside my apartment. I recognize his voice. I don't know him. What do you mean they're going to process people like this? We let them do it to her because nobody cared about her. That's what they said last time. Yeah, to chip her, you can't chip her. Why? She didn't do anything wrong. Her family don't care about her. My life matters. And it doesn't matter if I have one person in my life that cares about me or not. I went through hell in this concentration camp trying to save my children and my grandchildren. And I don't believe my oldest, John, and my youngest, Danny, that their kids go to those occults. And they do too. Well, they don't. Danny and his wife don't, but their kids do. And I don't believe that John that goes to that occult and his kids going part to that other cult, that they were part of having me drugged and photoshopped and people pretending they're federal agents. I don't believe that they were part of killing me, Dixie, and the baby and Joshy. But occults brainwash people. And if they're part of it, put them in jail for it. Because I've got raped, I've got tortured, I've got publicly humiliated. I have been drugged, I have been framed, I have been kidnapped, and somebody cut my skull open. And this is public knowledge. They sold the login to a police protective life case. The undercover police in the courthouse are that dirty. They want to put their name on one part of it, they'll all go to jail. Huh? Because I'll tell you what, the dark gray truck, white, 6 foot tall, stocky, shaved head with dark eyes, told everybody he was an agent from the agency stationed in the courthouse. No, you're a dirty cop. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you what. Yeah. Told you, the dark gray truck, the light gray truck, the black truck, the medium blue truck saved my life one day. When a gold car with black windows did a U-turn pulling in front of me and he came racing to my rescue. Now, the officers in uniform in the courthouse is, hi, sweetie. Prosecutor's office, Abigail Watkins, when I went in and talked to her about David, she never mentioned anything. Neither did the Portage County Sheriffs. Because it was just the group of men doing crimes, and they corrupted a couple cops for the judge's daughter. Yeah. But you know what? Walmart said they still have all those crazy tapes of 18 and 19 of stalkers, men saying the case is called Karen's Will from the agency, bragging they're leaving me in high danger after the gunshot night and when I almost got shot driving, chasing off stalkers. The one guy saying he's part of the 25,000 that Strange hired him. They have all that craziness inside there, okay? And people pretend to be handlers. They also, at Altman Hospital, March 13, 21, tape and audio for medical malpractice. They could go to Altman Hospital, 2:53 p.m., pull their tapes. They come in, we're here for Karen's Will, the agency chipped her. Nurse points at me, is that why she's here? A woman gets in my face. The agency wanted the truth out of you, that's why they chipped you. It wasn't the agency, it was a Jack the Ripper. Okay? And then they tell Dr. Alan and Tina some damn bastard neurochip me. He said he already knew. They've had two neurochips since 2005. 2016, they started using it for paralyzed patients. Medical field. Paralyzed man plays video game with brain chip. Paralyzed man plays computer with brain chip. Goes into the cell phones. It can be removed. They just remove your skull and your skin and just retract it out and your brain goes back to normal. Takes an hour. Why was I out for 6? Good reason, huh? Someone needs to find out everything they did to me. Because they're nothing but, like someone yelled out, it's Jack the Ripper's doing this to her. It is. And everybody knows I was photoshopped, framed, and drugged. And they have admitted to it in stores. Even my last client, Paul, he said, Karen, this is crazy. I'm like, who's crazy? He said, these people. They admitted to drugging you until you say stuff before, and they raped you in public, in stores in front of people. I said, tape and audio. I tell the police where to get it. And since they sold the lock-in, like the guy on 6th Street in the Brown House, come run out saying to the postman, we all heard him admit to drugging her and telling her to say it before. They've heard this whole case and how they've drugged, photoshopped, and framed me. And the investigators at Pearl, we all know this woman's innocent. I'm just their victim. I'll tell you what, white people are stupid making fun of victims. They are. They're very stupid. Because African American people shut this nation down for if they touch one of them. They burn it down. And I'll tell you what, I don't know what's wrong with the local FBI. And I don't know what happened to Will, because Will didn't mention anything either. If there was a question about me, he would have said, hey, lady. But he didn't. Someone said he just left me on his desk. He knew there was a hit on Dixie and the baby's life, and they had a list of people. He had enough evidence on Dave in 10 days to pull me out of there and arrest Dave. And he left me up there to die. Why? Because FBI can't even be in murderers' homes. They can't be in drug lords' homes. They can't even surveillance anybody but the protective life cases only. And it has to be set up correctly, like Reinhardt said. Until you actually gave your statement to Will and he agreed to protect you, no one could be in your home. It's illegal to be in somebody's home, and it's illegal to look and listen. It is. I wish somebody come down here. They mock the local FBI in stores that too many crazy people are coming at me and it's too much for them. They mock them. They have framed them. They pretend to be them. They got fake badges. They may have pretended to be CIA too. Okay? Now, I can tell you where to get the evidence, where to find the people involved, but I can't do people's jobs for them. Some girl laughed, Karen had to work her own case. I did. And I just need someone to get me out of here and get this chip out. And then you need to take care of these people. Anybody stupid enough to participate in this, that's how they put it. Stupid enough. You can go to jail for, because there's laws to protect me from everything. They run around like they can get money and like people could look at their shit. Like they told Shine last month when I was in there, we could never look or listen to these people's tapes. We just want their involvement in it. It would cost them a badge. There was 300 officers in Nevada that got fired, arrested, or asked to resign for illegal surveillance. It's a legal search and seizure. You have a right to privacy. No one's allowed in your home except for those special protective light cases set up correctly or else. And everybody knows it's photoshopped and drugged. Someone needs to help me, please. Because I'll tell you what, the murderers and the druggers and kidnappers are all around me. I put my refrigerator in front of the door, and they walk by my apartment, and they sold the police login. And everybody has it. And this is public knowledge.